Good evening one and all. I welcome you all to Ganesh IAS Academy. In today's session, we'll be seeing science and technology based current affairs. Let us get into the news articles one by one. The first news that we are going to discuss is NASA's first asteroid samples land on Earth. So NASA's first asteroid sample. So which is the asteroid that we are discussing here? It is Bennu asteroid. We'll see that. And then the sample has landed on Earth safely. The capsule has landed on Earth safely. So that is what the news is. Let us get into furthermore details of this particular news. So the NASA's spacecraft, the spacecraft's name is Origins Spectral Interpretation, Resource Identification and Security Regolith Exploration. So regolith exploration is what is being done in this particular spacecraft. Regolith exploration means the topsoil exploration. Okay, so the spacecraft's name is Osiris Rex. Okay, Osiris is the abbreviation, and then regolith exploration is that Rex. Okay, so this is that particular spacecraft which was launched in the year 2016 on 8th September. And now this spacecraft has successfully delivered the first sample from the asteroid, which is a near-Earth asteroid. Okay, and its name is Bennu, which was formerly known as 1999 RQ36. Okay, RQ36, and it has transferred or it has sent the sample to Earth after a 7-year journey. Okay, so it has taken 7 years to reach this particular asteroid, that is Bennu, and this brings valuable 4.5 billion year old samples to Earth. Okay, next is this Osiris Rex sample capsule was released during the spacecraft's Earth flyby. Okay, and it has landed safely on Utah desert of United States, and there it is preserved safely. Okay, so what else do we have to know from this news? It is that the scientists estimate that the capsule has at least a cup full of debris from the carbon-rich asteroid Bennu. This particular asteroid is a carbon-rich asteroid, and it has taken a cup full of debris. Okay, next, this sample is expected to provide insight into formation of Earth and also life 4.5 billion years ago. Okay, next is this Osiris Rex will continue its mission. This is not the end of the particular mission. Okay, it will continue its mission by studying another asteroid. Its name is Apophis. Okay, and it will reach this Apophis in the year 2029. Okay, so these are the details, and this is that capsule which landed on Earth safely in Utah desert of United States. Okay, so these details we need to understand from exam point of view. The next news is the topic that we are going to discuss next is Vibrio vulnificus infection. So what is this Vibrio vulnificus infection? Is it a bacterial, viral or fungal infection? That we need to understand, and what is its significance, that also we need to know. Let us get into furthermore details of it. So in recent years, India has been struggling with a growing concern related to this particular infection called Vibrio vulnificus, which is a deadly bacteria. So it is a bacterial infection found in marine environments. All these terms are important. So it is a bacterial infection, and then it is found in marine environments. That is also important. Okay, despite its potential threat, this particular pathogen remains largely underreported in India. This is also important. Okay, so there is a potential threat of this particular infection, but then it has been underreported, largely underreported in India, and this infection is a bacterium. Okay, this is caused by a bacterium that can cause severe infection in humans, and it results from eating undercooked seafood. So when we consume undercooked seafood, especially oysters, then we may contract this particular infection, and oysters contain this bacteria in large amount. Okay. What else do we need to understand? What are the carriers of this particular infection? It is typically contracted through two main routes. What are the two routes? First is consuming infected raw shellfish, okay, like oyster, and then the second one is exposing open wounds to contaminated water, the water which is contaminated with this particular bacteria, Vibrio vulnificus, and it spreads through marine organisms and fishes like eel, derbio, tilapia, trout, and even shrimps. Okay, so these are the marine organisms which serve as a source of these bacteria. Okay, and then the first case in marine organism was documented in Japan in the year 1975 among eelfish. Okay, next, the first case in humans was recorded in the year 1976 in USA, and in 2018 India documented an outbreak of this Vibrio vulnificus in tilapia fish farm in Kerala. Okay, and this tilapia fish is originally from Africa and West Asia and is one of the most traded food fish variety globally. Okay, tilapia, this must be there. You must be aware of this particular fish name, and then it is from Africa and West Asia, and it is one of the most widely traded food fish globally. Next, what are all the symptoms of this particular infection? The symptoms of vulnificus infection include diarrhea, vomiting, and fever, and in severe cases, flesh-eating diseases might also happen, which can be fatal within days. Okay, a person who is infected with severity might die very soon, within days. And then environmental factors favoring vulnificus in India. How? This bacterium thrives in warm waters above 20 degrees Celsius. This is the condition that it requires. And in India, the average sea surface temperature is 28 degrees Celsius, which provides a perfect habitat for this particular bacterium. Next is, even climate change with increased rainfall and reduced coastal salinity further supports the growth of this Vibrio vulnificus. Okay, so climate change and also warm water, these both are contributing to this, the growth of this particular bacteria, that is Vibrio vulnificus. Next is, what are all the consequences of this infection? The infection have a high mortality rate that ranges from 15 to 50% even with prompt diagnosis and treatment. Though we do proper diagnosis and treatment, there is high mortality rate with this infection. And vulnerable population, generally in a society there will be vulnerable population, medically vulnerable. These people are medically vulnerable. Those who are having chronic liver disease, those who are suffering from cancer, and those who have chronic kidney disease, and even people with diabetes. Those are the most vulnerable people medically, and they are at increased risk of getting affected by these bacteria. And the infection can lead to limb amputation also in certain cases. What is limb amputation? It is surgical removal of the part of the body such as arm or leg. It's called as limb amputation, thus making them a significant health concern. Okay, so these are all the consequences of this particular infection. And what are all the measures that we need to take to address or to mitigate this risk related to this infection? First is healthcare awareness must be there, especially in coastal areas. So healthcare professionals in coastal areas must be aware of this infection risk, and they must test patients with relevant symptoms. The symptoms that we already discussed, that has to be tested among patients. Next is predictive tools can also be used. Okay, so researchers are developing risk warning tools using satellite based sensors which monitor sea surface temperature and phytoplankton levels. These two are associated with increased infection. So when there is an increased sea surface temperature and when there is large amount of phytoplanktons which are affected by this bacteria, then it is directly related to increase in this particular infection. Next is learning from the seasonal consumption pattern in Japan. Okay, how are they consuming fishes in Japan? In Japan, bivalves, that is oysters and mussels, are consumed only in winter. So this is the consumption pattern that they are changing, okay, and they avoid eating them in summer when the bacteria levels are high, okay. So the practice significantly reduces the infection risk. So they are not going to consume this this oysters and mussels and tilapia fish in summer, but then they are going to have it in the winter where the infection is lesser, okay. So this is how they are going to control or reduce the infection risk. So this is it with this particular topic. The topic that we are going to discuss now is DNA nanoball strategy. So what is DNA nanoball strategy? Let us get into the details. In a remarkable scientific development, deoxyribonucleic acid, that is DNA nanoball strategy, has emerged as a groundbreaking, cost-effective technology for rapid detection of pathogens in the field. This is important. So a question may be as simple as this: where do we use DNA nanoball strategy? Why do we use DNA nanoball strategy? We are using it for rapid detection of pathogens in the field, okay. The question can be as simple as this. And what are pathogens? That we need to understand. Pathogens are actually microorganisms which causes disease in their host, okay. A host organism will be there and a microorganism which is in the support of this host will infect the host, okay, will cause disease in the host. That is called as pathogens, and they can be viruses, bacteria, protozoa, or even fungi, okay. And this strategy, that is DNA nanoball strategy, combines two techniques. What are they? First one is nucleic acid based diagnostics. This is the first technique, and the second one is LAMP technique. What is LAMP technology? That is loop mediated isothermal amplification. So they are going to amplify something. What is it? Let us understand. And this is done for rapid pathogen detection. So we need to understand further more in detail about this LAMP technology. What is LAMP technology? It is a process which amplifies circular DNA molecules, okay. We'll be having circular DNA molecules, and these circular DNA molecules will be amplified into long strands, okay. They will be amplified into long strands which contain multiple copies of the same DNA, okay. And then these strands then fold into spherical structures. These strands will be folded into spherical structures like this, okay. Like this it will get folded. These are called as DNA nanoball, okay. And these structures are called as DNA nanoballs, which can be easily observed by microscope or an electrical device, okay. So using these characteristics, they can detect pathogens. Next is the design does not need laboratory techniques. This is also important. This particular strategy does not need laboratory technique to support diagnosis, and it is a low cost technique which can be widely deployed, and it is also scalable. It can be scaled to further levels, higher or lower, okay. So this is that DNA nanoball technology. What is it used for? That is what important from exam point of view, okay. The next topic that we are going to discuss, now is green hydrogen fuel cell bus, okay. So what is this green hydrogen, what is fuel cell, and how are they using green hydrogen fuel cell bus, and where have they introduced this? All these details we need to know. First thing is, recently Union Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas flagged off the country's first green hydrogen fuel cell bus where? In New Delhi. Okay, and this marks a revolutionary step in the transition to clean energy because we are using green hydrogen, which means it has been sourced from renewable resources. Next is green hydrogen fuel cell are clean, reliable and efficient source of high quality electric power. So they are clean, which means no greenhouse gases, and they are reliable and it is an efficient source also. Next is they use green hydrogen as a fuel to drive electrochemical process. These electrochemical process happen in the fuel cell, and this process produces electricity, okay, with water and heat as the only byproduct. This is also important. So the byproducts here are water and heat. That's it. No other harmful greenhouse gases are emitted from this particular mechanism. Okay. So let us get into the details of what is green hydrogen, what is fuel cell, and what is the process altogether. So green hydrogen is a type of hydrogen which has been produced through a process called electrolysis. So anywhere you see the term lysis, it means to cut, to split. Okay, so what are they going to split or cut here? They are going to split the water molecule here. So they are going to use electrolysis. So they are going to use electricity for splitting water molecule, that is electrolysis. Okay, so using renewable energy. So the electricity is harnessed here using renewable resources like wind and solar energy, and it involves splitting of water like we saw, and the water is split into its constituent elements, that is hydrogen and oxygen, with zero greenhouse gas emission. Okay, since it emits zero greenhouse gas, it is green. Since it is sourced, the energy to this particular process is sourced from renewable energy, it is again green. Okay, so the water is split into hydrogen and oxygen. This is green hydrogen. Okay, next is what is fuel cell? Fuel cell is an electrochemical device. What is an electrochemical device? Which converts chemical energy into electrical energy. That is electrochemical energy. Okay, electrochemical device, and then the chemical that is used here is hydrogen. Okay, next is it consists of two electrodes, that is anode and cathode, which is separated by an electrolyte. Okay, what is anode? Anode is positively charged and cathode is negatively charged side. Okay, let us understand this pictographically. Okay, so hydrogen is sent to the anode. Here the hydrogen splits into hydrogen ions, that is proton, and then electron is removed. The electron then comes in the external circuit and reaches the cathode, where oxygen along with electron with the hydrogen produced will give rise to water. So the output here is water, as we saw, and also heat is also emitted. Okay, so this is the process. Let us understand that. So the process of generating electricity, first thing is green hydrogen is supplied to the anode side of the fuel. Like we saw, green hydrogen here is supplied to the anode side of the electrode, and then at the anode the hydrogen molecules release electrons and become positively charged hydrogen ions. Here we see electrons are emitted and then hydrogen ions are produced. Okay, these hydrogen ions pass through these electrolyte solution or membrane. Okay, these hydrogen ions are also called as protons, and then they reach the cathode side. Okay, next is the electrons flow from the anode to the cathode through an external circuit generating electric current. Here is where the electric current is generated, because electrons, see the negatively charged electrons are traveling from here to here, this direction. Okay, next oxygen from the air is supplied. Oxygen from the air is supplied to the cathode, and at the cathode the oxygen molecules combine with electrons which have been produced from the anode, and also protons to produce water vapor as the byproduct. So water vapor is the byproduct here. Okay, exhaust water. So this is how the electricity is produced. in this fuel cell using green hydrogen. Next is, what are all the advantages that we have when we go for green hydrogen fuel cell? First thing is, the only byproduct here is water, thus making them zero emission energy source. One. Next is, hydrogen fuel vehicles can be refueled in a matter of minutes, similar to the traditional vehicles that we have. Okay, it does not require more time for charging and other things. It can be refueled in matter of minutes. Next is challenges. What are all the challenges involved here when we go for green hydrogen? First thing is, the production of green hydrogen is expensive as of now. Okay, it is expensive as of now, but ongoing research aims to reduce the cost. It will be done in the near future. And then the development of hydrogen infrastructure is needed. That is again a challenge. Okay, so infrastructure for production, storage and distribution is essential for widespread adoption of this green hydrogen production. Okay, so these are the advantages and challenges that we have. And green hydrogen transform India's landscape. How? Let us see. Hydrogen and biofuels will account for 25% of the global incremental energy demand growth over the next 2 decades. This will happen for sure. And in this context, India aims to become global champion in the production and export of green hydrogen and emerge as a hub for green hydrogen. So these are the aims of India. Okay. Next, the success of green hydrogen mission. We already have a green hydrogen mission, and the success of this mission can shoot India from being a net importer of fossil fuel energy to becoming a net exporter of clean hydrogen energy. India will become a net exporter if this mission is a huge success. Okay. Next, hydrogen is poised to be a game changer in India's ambitious target to achieve net zero emission by the year 2070. This is important. All these years are important. So India aims to become a net zero emission country by the year 2070, and green hydrogen will pave a great way for it. Okay. So this is it with that particular news. The next topic, the topic that we are going to discuss now is hybrid seeds. Why are they in news? Let us understand. Hybrid seeds. Popularity of hybrid seeds has been increasing among farmers in India over decades due to their quicker harvesting. So one main advantage of hybrid seeds is quicker harvesting as compared to traditional or open pollinated variety of seeds. Okay, so traditional seeds are also called as open pollinated variety of seeds. So what are the advantages of open pollinated variety seed? That let us understand first, and then come to hybrid seeds. These open pollinated variety seeds usually are more genetically diverse. Why? Because they can adapt to different conditions. Okay, here there won't be any controlled cross pollination. Here it is open pollinated. Okay, that is why it is genetically diverse and causing an amazing variation within the plant population, which will allow them to adapt to local growing conditions and even climates every year. Okay, different climates will be there, and if there is a climate change, they can adopt to it accordingly if it is an open pollinated seed. Okay, but when it comes to hybrid seed, it is produced by controlled cross pollination. Between what and what? Between different varieties of the same plant. So what is controlled cross pollination or cross pollination in general? It means transfer of pollen grains from the anther of one plant to the stigma of another different plant is called as cross pollination, and it is done in a controlled manner. Okay, in controlled cross pollination. What else do we have to understand? So these are chosen, I mean the hybrid variety of seeds are chosen to enhance certain characteristics in the resulting plants, which includes better yield. They are focusing on better yield, greater uniformity, and also disease resistant. Okay, so disease resistance, greater uniformity and better yield are the characteristics which we look for in hybrid variety of seeds. And since all the hybrid seeds in a packet have the same parent plants, this is true. So in a packet of hybrid variety seeds, all the seeds will be having the same parent plant, which means they will all grow into a uniform plant. Here we saw greater uniformity. Okay. Next is, these are often easier and faster to grow than heirloom seeds. What are heirloom seeds? Heirloom seeds come from open pollinated plants, meaning plants were pollinated by natural mechanism like wind, insect or birds. So it happens naturally, that is why they are more resilient, okay, rather than through controlled cross pollination or hybridization. Okay, so it is pollinated through wind, insect and birds. Next is, what is the need to go for hybrid variety of seeds? The need arose when there was increase in population. So rapid increase in population has compelled farmers to adopt hybrid variety of seeds because they need to enhance production. Okay, and then this hybridization aims to improve grain quality, obvious. Next is reduce pest incidence and increase the overall crop productivity, contributing to sustainable development goal of food security and nutrition. So this was the need. We needed food security and nutrition in 1960s. That is why we went for adoption of hybrid seeds. So let us see the origin, the history. Okay, so origin of hybrids can be traced to India's Green Revolution in 1916, when the government's effort was primarily to increase the agricultural productivity, because the population was increased rapidly and we need to supply them food, that is food security and nutrition must be there. Okay, next, and for this purpose India has set up National Seed Corporation, okay, in the year 1963. Why? To develop, store and distribute high yielding variety seeds. High yielding variety seeds were produced during this time. Okay, these are the hybrid seeds. Okay, next is, what is the status of India's seed market? First thing is, according to a report of the Standing Committee on Agriculture in 2021, the share of private sector in India's seed market increased from 57.3% in 2017-18 to 64.5% in the year 2020-2021. Okay, so when there is an increase in share of private sector, then it automatically means that this field is a lucrative field. Okay, they can earn a lot of profit from it. That is why they are engaging their activity here. Next, a 2019 report by Indian Council of Food and Agriculture says that Indian seed market reached a value of $4.1 billion US dollars, okay, in 2018, and is expected to grow at a rate of 13.6% from 2019 to 2024, and this will even reach a value of 9.1 billion US dollars by the year 2024. This was according to 2019 report of Indian Council of Food and Agriculture. Next is, hybrid seeds occupy about 6% of India's 44 million hectares under rice cultivation. Such statements are very important from exam point of view, and the majority of India's seed market is occupied by two varieties, two crops. Okay, what are they? Wheat and paddy, which accounts for about 85% of the seed market. Statements like these are also very important from exam point of view, which can be directly asked in your prelims. Next is, what are all the concerns in adopting hybrid seeds? First thing is impact on crop diversity. Yes, they will impact crop diversity because these hybrid seeds are sensitive to temperature and rain, thus it poses great threat to India's crop diversity. And unlike traditional varieties which adapt to local climates, these hybrid varieties require specific condition for optimal growth, which means they need specific temperature range and specific amount of rainfall for their growth, else they won't grow well. Next is, there are also concerns of crop failure. How? Farmers have reported cases of crop failure and reduced yield with hybrid seed variety also, particularly in maize. Okay, this is important. And hybrid seeds are also more susceptible to infection affecting the yield. Okay, we already saw that it is disease resistant. Okay, it offers disease resistance and it is disease resistant, but in some cases it is more susceptible to infections also. Next is an example for this is in 2022 a farmer in Haryana experienced a significant drop in the rice yield due to a disease called Fiji virus infection. Okay, so disease is happening in hybrid variety seeds. Next is price hike and availability. This is again a problem when it comes to hybrid variety seeds. Manufacturers tend to increase the price of hybrid seeds with rising demand. Yes, this is happening, and farmers sometimes feel forced to buy these hybrid seeds because they have limited availability of the traditional seed variety. So again, the next point is linked here, that is there is decline in traditional variety. Okay, so because of the dominance of hybrid seeds, which has led to decline in traditional and local variety of crops, and this decline threatens the diversity of crops obviously. Okay, next is genetic erosion and crop replacement. This is also happening. So when we shift from hybrid seeds and modern uniform variety to when we shift from traditional to these hybrid variety seeds, then it causes genetic erosion which replaces the indigenous crop varieties. Okay, and this narrow genetic range is focused on profit. This is where it is important. Okay, so private players are coming here because they need profit. Okay, there is narrowing in genetic range, but then it is focused on profit rather than preserving the extensive diversity of the local species. Okay, so these are the points which we need to understand with respect to hybrid seeds. The topic that we are going to discuss now is geospatial intelligence. What is geospatial intelligence? Let us understand it in detail. So the summer of 2023, this summer has witnessed a series of unprecedented natural disasters, which includes record-breaking temperatures, wildfires, historic flooding, and even powerful hurricanes. And here the usage of geospatial intelligence could have mitigated such crisis. How geospatial intelligence is going to mitigate such climatic crisis? Let us understand. What is geospatial technology? This technology uses certain tools like GIS, GPS and remote sensing. What is GIS? Geographic Information System, and GPS is Global Positioning System. Other than that, it also uses remote sensing tools for geographic mapping and analysis. So they are going to do geographic mapping and analysis, and these tools will capture spatial information about objects, events and even certain phenomena. Okay, so they are going to capture spatial information, which means geographical information, and they will be indexed to their geographical location, which is called as geotagging. Okay, these objects, events and phenomena will be geotagged using these tools. What are all the significance? Let us understand that. Before that, we have to understand two types of data here. Okay, data collection. Okay, so the location data may be static or dynamic. Okay, so static location data includes position of a road. What is the position of a road? An earthquake event, or even malnutrition among children in a particular region. All these will be coming under static location data. We also have dynamic location data, which includes data related to moving vehicle or pedestrian and the spread of an infectious disease. So when disease spread from one region to another, when a moving vehicle passes from one region to another, then it becomes dynamic location data, whereas the other are static location data. These are just examples. Okay, next, the technology may be used to create intelligent maps to help identify spatial patterns in large volumes of data. Other than that, the technology facilitates decision making. This is what is important. So it facilitates decision making based on the importance and priority of the scarce resources that we have. Okay, so these are the points which we need to understand. And what are all the significance or importance of geospatial technology? First thing is, it helps in monitoring tropical cyclones. Yes. Next, it helps in search and rescue efforts. Yes. Next is, environmental monitoring can also be done using this geospatial technique. That is, predicting climate related events like temperature, precipitation, snowpack, polar ice monitoring, and all these will help to anticipate and prepare for disturbances. Next is, this environmental monitoring is crucial in addressing the increasing threats posed by climate change induced extreme weather events. Okay. Next, there are also military and civilian applications to it. When we see geospatial intelligence in border management, then it is under military application, and transportation and logistics, even there this geospatial intelligence is used and it comes under civilian application. Okay. What are all the other applications? First is, the other thing is urban planning and autonomous vehicles. How is it going to help enhance urban development? Because it will provide high resolution imagery which will aid city planners in designing safer and more efficient communities, and they also play a role in autonomous vehicles. That is, this technology supports the development of autonomous vehicle by providing ground level details. Okay. And we also have something called as digital twins. What are digital twins here? They are virtual replica of the real system. There will be a real system, and when there is a virtual replica of it, that is called as digital twin. Okay. And these digital twin are used for modeling and predicting outcomes, and they have proven effective in conflict settings for simulating weather and terrain. Even here, these geospatial technology is employed. Okay. So this is it. We have to know about geospatial technology. And what are all the government initiatives to promote geospatial technology in India? First thing is, government has introduced Geospatial Information Regulation 2021. Okay, it is a bill which was introduced in 2021, and this bill aimed to regulate the acquisition, dissemination and the use of geospatial information in India, and it has also proposed to set certain guidelines for mapping and geospatial data collection. And what was the focus there? The focus was national security concerns. Okay. And we also have National Geospatial Policy 2022, which was launched to streamline the utilization of geospatial intelligence. Okay. So these are the initiatives taken by government with respect to geospatial technology. In previous slides, we already discussed about its application and what geospatial technology is. Okay. So with this, we have come to end of this particular session. I hope you found the session to be very useful and informative. Let us see in the next session. Thank you.